はい、ということで皆さん元気でしょうか。明けましておめでとうございます。今年も何卒よろしくお願いします。Alright, people, Happy New Year. Welcome to the Mighty Crown Official YouTube series. Yes, 2021. The first, I shouldn't call artist. Well, he moves like an artist.
I'm an artist, son. Come on, son. I'm an artist, man.
He's like an artist, but, well, my good friend from New York City, you know, he's a DJ. He has a lot of faces. He's a producer. He's a DJ selector. He has a sound. He's a radio personnel. Center of reggae and dancehall in New York City, no doubt. He's been promoting reggae and dancehall throughout the world from New York City. We got none other than the man, Bobby Konders from Massive B.
Baka. Hold on. Where's the high grade? Where's it at? Whatever. Hey, I'm here, family. Mushy. Konnichiwa. All these wonderful things. Big up Sapporo, Okinawa, Yokohama, my place, Osaka. Yo, big up everybody. Big up all of Japan. It's all love. You already know Japan, Massive B in Japan. It's like family.
No doubt. So what's going on, man? 2021.
Yeah, man. We hustling, man. We working. We putting music out. Putting a lot of music out. Producing a lot of music.
Yeah, you've been doing like a lot of producing lately, more than selecting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we do in New York, like we had mentioned earlier, in New York. Now, not all of America, but in New York, you just have more or less underground parties. Because any place legal that has liquor license cannot really open. So everything is kind of underground parties, you know, and they're word of mouth, or you got to get the DM to get the address. So they're kind of underground parties in the dance hall world, you know. So like underneath certain, I don't want to give too much information. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we know they're watching. We know they're watching. You know? But you know what I'm saying. The underground parties, you're supposed to understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. Let me get into some history of Bobby first, because a lot of people don't know that you started off as a house DJ or a producer.
Well, as a DJ, a street DJ, and I always like dance music as well as hip hop and reggae, and let's just say as a Yankee DJ before I started Massive B. Yeah, I was big in that world. I did, you know, I played in the late 80s, 1987, 88, 89, 90. I was big this in the party scene in New York, you know, and I produced like some underground house music records, you know, and it's funny, one of them that became a classic in the house music world was the one with Muda Bruka called This Poem.
Okay, yeah.
You know, where I took the poem and put music to it. And then I did other stuff like the Acid House and, you know, other stuff and put a lot of records out on some independent labels, and they did well, you know, and I toured. I went to Europe and stuff and everything. It's just that I always wanted to have a reggae sound, and that's when I just kind of eased off of that and went hardcore with the reggae music in 1991, 92.
You were born in New York?
Well, I was born actually in a place called Easton, Pennsylvania, but I bust out of, one thing you might know about Easton is Larry Holmes, the fighter. You know, it's a fighter's town, you know. There's hard-working people. One of them kind of towns, you know. But I bust, like I lived a lot of places in New York because we lived back and forth. And so I lived in the projects in Queens, you know, Spanish Harlem, and then Brooklyn, all over Brooklyn. And I bust like as a DJ and a sound system out of Brooklyn. So when everybody knows me from Brooklyn.
When you came to New York?
Early 80s.
So you were like
I was staying in New York in the 70s because I had family in Queens.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's like what age? Like you're like around,
from a little boy on up.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
You're basically then a New Yorker then.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I may not have the closed-mindedness of some New Yorkers, because I know from being in the streets, I've seen gunshot fire all over the place. Upstate New York, country towns, Jersey, Pennsylvania. So, like in the 80s and stuff, cats would be like, oh, I'm Brooklyn and Ray. And I seen cats carried out in body bags in other towns. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, shit is real in the streets. You know, like in other places.
When did you start Massive B? In 90, 91, 92?
Yeah, pretty much. Because I was voicing my first dubs as Massive Sounds, and then I just said Massive B Sounds. So if you listen to some of my early dubs, they just say Massive Sounds. But Massive B, the record label, probably started in 91, 92. I don't know exactly what year, because it was just like a slow transition, and then I just went, started doing more hardcore dancehall stuff. But then some of my productions in that around the 92, 93 kind of really got me big, because I had the house music stuff that did well, but then I did some reggae hip hop stuff like Super Cat, Get a Red Hot.
Yeah.
And then the Mac Daddy record, I did some a song with Cuddy. So that reggae hip hop thing kind of really lifted me up in the Jamaican community as well as mainstream hip hop community, because like this a lot like when we did them remixes, the hip hop remixes, we never wanted to say this is what Jamaica should be doing. What we was really trying to do was give the dancehall song a bridge to hip hop DJs that would never play dancehall.
Okay.
Like, we're not, no disrespect, that we love dancehall, but this is, let's make a banging beat to give it to a hip hop DJ that is not going to play that dancehall record, but this beat is so fucking banging, and whatever that dancehall artist is saying sounds cool, but you have to understand, a lot of Yankees don't understand, a lot of Americans don't understand patois. But that shit sound cool, and they think dancehall and Jamaicans are gangster, and the Americans love gangster culture. That when we put them, did them remixes, the hip hop DJs were loving it back in like 92, 93. And then I did a bunch I did an album called New York City Rude Boy, aka New York City Batman, where we had Get a Red Hot on it, then we had Louis Rankin on it.
Okay.
Shaggy, Red Fox, Junior Demus, and so forth.
Wow.
Reverend Badu, some Brooklyn artists, and I voiced them on dancehall rhythm, and then just did an individual hip hop remix to each one of them. And back then, them songs were playing hard body in New York.
How did you link up with Super Cat?
Because after I used to see him in dances in the 80s, because even when I was just like playing Yankee music, I was going to Biltmore. You know what I'm saying? I followed King Addies before, when it was just Danny Dreadlocks and Babyface was young. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was going on Sundays to see Fergo Digital at the Starlight Ballroom. And I was going to them dances, even though I was more like a Yankee DJ, but I love the culture, I love the music, so I was going to them dances. I was seeing Super Cat. I was going to Scorpio clashes, seeing Burrow and Cat on Addies clash against fucking General Trees with Jack Scorpio and the Hornsmen. So I was in them parties. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, then after we did this Mac Daddy record, which did really well over here, right? I got picked up because my independent stuff that I did for independent labels, I got picked up as a producer. Signed to Polygram, Polydor, one of the big American labels. And we did a song called Mac Daddy. And it, like in New York and in Philadelphia, in certain pockets of America, it became a #1 record. Now for a major label, a #1 record in Philly and New York or whatever isn't really that big, because America is a big place. They wanted #1 across the country, but in them pockets, it did really well.
Okay.
And it was getting like daytime radio play alongside Boyz II Men or Mariah Carey. So that record did really well, and he was like, he was like an artist that nobody knew, but it was just that the song was big. And then Robert hit me up, and then I used to go to, like, one of my mentors, especially as a reggae engineer and learning the craft, is Philip Smart.
Oh, wow.
HCF Studio. I used to go there back in 88 and 89. I used to take the train from Brooklyn to Freeport, Long Island.
Yeah.
And I used to sit with Philip and just try to learn how to engineer. And them times it was 2-inch 24-track tape, and learn proper technique.
Process, yeah.
You know, because I'm not a reader, but I will watch you. So I learned a lot from Philip, and I met a lot of artists at Philip's studio. And I probably met Cat out there, but then Robert linked me, who was Cat's manager at the time, Robert Livingston, said, we want you to remix Dundada and Dundada and Get a Red Hot, I think. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So I had teamed up with, because I'm not really a beat maker, I met Salam Remy, who was carrying Chuck Chillout's records at the time. Chuck Chillout is one of the early hip-hop DJs. So I met them at WBLS in the 80s, and I said, well, Salam, I need a programmer, because people are hollering at me for some of the work I did in the house music world and so forth, and Ray. And when me and him did Mac Daddy, we did Dundada Hip Hop Remix, we did Get a Red Hot, and so forth, so on. And he started doing his thing, and I continued to do my thing. And that's just how the things led on, and that's how, you know, aside from seeing Supercat, that's when I really kind of met him, and he used to call me and holler at me, you know, in Brooklyn and so forth and so on.
Okay. So Salam Remy, and then you kind of teamed up for the remix, and then it's kind of...
Exactly. Because Salam's a beat maker, and I would just more or less tell him the direction I was looking for. Because I'm not a musician, you know, I'm an idea man. And I'm a record collector, so back then we used to have loops, and we used to play records, and loop this up. I don't know how to, you know, I would just say that beat there, loop that up, put an 808 on it, let's add a hi-hat, da-da-da-da-da, that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? From the technical aspect of it. But I used to have all them beat records, you know, I was a vinyl junkie.
Being from in New York, like especially like in Brooklyn and Bronx, Queens, like from like late 80s, 90s, you said you've been to Biltmore Ballroom and stuff, right?
Parkside Plaza in the Bronx, where I'd see Burrow, Major Macro, Sluggy Ranks, all these artists, Tippertone, Downbeat the Ruler, all them sounds playing.
Wow. So being in like basically in a black neighborhood, like being as a white, you never got scared?
I wasn't born scared. I kind of lived in them environments my whole life, and I'm not scared of people, you know.
Nobody really kind of like fuck with you.
No, when I was younger, I got in a lot of fights, but more on the basketball court and in the playgrounds. Wow. You know what I'm saying? As I got older and bigger, I moved with respect. Like I was a nobody back in '89. I was just going to parties. Now, if motherfuckers were preying me, I mean, like. You know, it is what it is. I mean, I I used to walk kind of heavy back in the day. Like, you know what I'm saying? My shit, I had access to my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, in my car, or I snuck it on me or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I grew a little different than a lot of motherfuckers that look like me. You know what I'm saying? So now I ain't no bad man, but I ain't no punk. So there's a difference, you know. I ain't gonna rob you, but I'm gonna defend myself. I never felt insecure or whatever. Now, granted, if there was people out there that didn't like me the way I looked or whatever, well, then that's a hurdle they got to deal with. You know. And by rights, with American history and how the white man and America has dealt with the black man. Black man has all the reason in the world not to like white people because of the history of white America and what they have done to the black man in America. You know, from slavery on up, corrupt system, corrupt police forces, corrupt prison system, the whole fucking nine. But I think as human beings, when you analyze the scope of the world, there's probably not more of a loving race than the black race, because all of the shit the black man is going through, they still embrace motherfuckers from outside their community, shows you loving people. Because if I was a black man, I don't know if I'd like white people. Because all the shit the white man has put the black man through in America. I don't know about Japan. I can't tell you about Germany. But I know about fucking New York. I know about America. I know we live in a corrupt double standard system, triple standard system. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, but with that being said, me being a motherfucker, a one-away soldier, you may not like me maybe for the way I look. And if we get into a fight or whatever, I'm just going to try to put it on you because you violated.
See.
You know, I'm an old man now, I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? And back in the 90s, I think, like, I looked a little more rough. So my appearance alone made a motherfucker probably didn't want to fuck with me.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
I'm clean shaven now, but back in the day, I looked kind of rough and I was a little bigger. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, but don't get it fucked up. We had our incidents in clubs, especially when me and Jabba connected. We had fights and a couple shootouts in clubs. You know what I'm saying?
How did you, get into Hot 97? What was the procedure?
Well, I was doing mixes for BLS.
Okay.
WBLS was transitioning and doing their thing and so forth. And Hot 97 just started their thing with Funk Flex, right? They just started as the fucking new hip-hop station. And Flex hollered at me and said, yo, would you be interested in coming over here to do a reggae show? And I just had the vision that, well, I know hip-hop's going to take the fucking world, let alone it runs New York, and this station is going to be 24/7 hip-hop. Yeah. BLS was R&B, adult R&B, urban. Same thing as Kiss FM at the time. And then BLS was doing whatever the fuck they were doing, and I respect BLS. They gave me an opportunity, my first opportunity in professional radio, you know, from just cleaning the floors, the filing the records in the library, to being Fred Buggs' right-hand man, who was the music director, who was my mentor, who gave me my first shot. Like, I had met Funk Flex in the 80s, late 80s. When I was at BLS, he was DJing for a rap group, was playing in the clubs, I guess, and somehow he got connected. I'm not exactly sure how he got connected with maybe his manager or whatever, got connected with Hot 97, and he became the first like real hip-hop DJ on Hot 97. When they was a different station at the time, and they transitioned from a certain style of music into the hip-hop thing. And then as he was doing that and he was on the radio so much, he contacted me, would you be interested in doing the reggae show on Sundays? And that show got so fucking big, so popular, and that's when I incorporated Jabba and so forth. Okay. And it was like, you know, that really catapulted us, because here we are on mainstream radio, but we're not playing reggae like the old time reggae DJs. We're playing reggae with a party vibe. We're talking shit. We got the sound effects. We're playing dub plates. I got the door open. I'm telling artists come in when they in town. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm bringing Bounty Killer up there, and we're fucking doing live stage shows on the radio. You know, we're running rhythm, pulling up, sound effects. Jabba's talking shit, I'm talking shit, and Killer's talking shit. And it's like fucking vibes. Yeah. You know, where we had, you know, from art, like Super Cat to, you know, and then I was around all the artists at the time too, because I was voicing a million dub plates. And I'm in Brooklyn, and, you know, the cats know me for doing the work for Super Cat now, you know, and then some other artists, and I got my label now. You know, I'm voicing dubs, and it's like.
When did you start Massive B label?
92, 91.
92, like from.
Because my first one or two releases actually were house music.
What was the first reggae
release?
Yeah.
I think the first real reggae release on Massive B was Half Pint, Winner Takes It All.
Okay, I have that record, man.
Can you feel it when it takes it all?
Yeah.
I keep it real. One of the nicest gentlemen you'll meet in the world is Half Pint.
Yeah, Half Pint is real cool, man.
And then after that came, on the same rhythm, Nicodemus. right? Because we're all fans of Nicodemus, and me and Demus became real good friends, right?
Okay.
And then on the same rhythm, I don't know how somebody contacted me, and he was in Brooklyn at the time, and he would come see me and hang out. It was Aina Kamosi.
Oh wow.
And that's it. He had Hot Stepper returning. Hot Stepper returning, my 9 and my firing. And then I also voiced on the rhythm Super C, who was a Brooklyn artist, and old Rasta artist by the name of Little Roy.
Okay.
And I think that was the 5 songs I released on the rhythm.
Oh wow.
And you know, you know, I never understood like the business aspect of it. I didn't realize like how severe like you'd have to deal with the radio DJs in Jamaica. You know, we're dealing with them, you know, paying people to, you know, play music and so forth. But then that's everywhere in the world, people are taxing. So, you know, but as my first productions, working with A-Team, Sir Ralph is a Rasta musician who built the rhythm out of Philip Smart Studio, mixing it there with Philip as my teacher. You know, I was very pleased with it, very happy. But I started making money, then I just was like, I hustled, and I remember me and Slum went and we bought my mixing board. I bought a mixing board. I was getting I was collecting my paper, my money, and I went and paid $17,500 for an Allen Heath mixing board, analog.
Wow.
And you gotta remember, I lived in St. James, which is co-op project type apartment, so I put that right in the living room. Then I spent another 20G and bought a 24-track 2-inch tape machine. And I put that right there. And I set up, I bought some speakers. Philip helped me hook up certain shit. And we used to run the microphone right in the kitchen. And we voiced enough fucking hit record there, son.
Wow.
Big dub plate, hit record, every fucking thing. Wow. Straight up. And people would say, oh, you can't do this, that, and the other. Need certain Sonics and Ray and all this bullshit. I'm like, fuck that shit. I'm from the ground, son. I'm going to do this.
Yeah, so really from the streets, man. Listening to all the stuff that you've been telling me so far.
Yeah, no, and I just looked at it like, even from being a producer, doing stuff for the major label and doing stuff for other independent labels, I realized, well, why the fuck can't I press my own records? You know, why can't I do that? Why can't I hustle them out my car? You know what I'm saying? Let alone now, I'm really doing reggae and dancehall and reggae hip hop. Major labels ain't gonna understand that. And if I give my shit to the next man, I know they're gonna fucking rob me. So if I believe in my shit, go spend my own money. And I used to go to Jamaican Voice or Voice Right in Brooklyn, press the records in Nashville, Tennessee, or in Pennsylvania, or in Kingston, Jamaica, and bring them back. And then I used to load them up in my Pathfinder and distribute them all fucking day. Like to every mom and pop record shop.
Go to all the record store.
Every record store, leave them on consignment, and then have the receipt book. And that's why I tell you, I'd have the hammer underneath the car seat and go collect your bread. And then to the point where the label was like, I realized there's reggae nerds. Like, I look at myself as a reggae nerd, even though, you know, I'm from the ground, but like a reggae nerd. Like, I look at you as a reggae nerd. You love it.
Yeah.
You and your brother, you love it. I love it, right? We love it. We love the culture, we love the music. But then I realized there's people around the world like that. And I started getting people from France, Switzerland, Germany, Italy. And there was mom and pop record shops in all of them countries. So I would send things to Europe. And then sometimes you had like 1 or 2 main distributors that was more or less consolidating the European stores. Now this is outside of England. Because England would buy from Jamaica usually, right? Because they have their own Jamaican community. But the Europeans were fucking like linking up a distributor in Germany or Italy or Switzerland, and I was sending stuff all over there, and even Japan then. You had a Jamaican kid in Japan named Ricky.
Yeah.
He was distributing for me, as well as then you had Cisco.
Cisco Records, yes.
Cisco used to buy my stuff, and then a bunch of other people.
Okay.
And you know, and I used to send them to them people, and you just develop your own network. And there would be times, real talk, I would probably have $50,000-$60,000 on consignment in the streets.
Wow.
From Brooklyn to Japan to fucking Europe to Trinidad or wherever.
Wicked.
And what would happen is, I got it to the point where I would release 2 rhythms a year, a reggae rhythm and a dancehall rhythm. And people would order the new stuff, but then order the back catalog. And then what I realized was, when I would like, because it was hard for me in 92, 93, 94 to get the top young artists in Jamaica because they were hype. But the Nicodemuses and them kind of artists were showing me mad love. Junior Reed. So I would say, you know what? I love rubber dub. I would relick old time rhythms and put foundation artists on them. And them rhythms would continually do well around the world. Because people, and the way I relick my old rhythms, if you hear them, you know that they sound good. It's not just no like digital fuck rhythm. You know what I'm saying? Like my style like sound clean. My Nicodemus Susie Wong, you know what I'm saying? It's not the original, but it's the one people are playing, and you know, sustain the test of time. You know what I'm saying? So forth and so on. Then my sick rhythm and the taxi rhythm with Junior Reed Bubblers. Sick rhythm with Bora Westmore and Sensi. I gave Chronicle a bust with My God on the sick rhythm.
Chronicle.
You know, so forth, so on. And all them kind of rhythms, the answer rhythms, and you know, they always did well. And then I did dancehall rhythms as well. And you know, but the rubber dub rhythms always, years later, would continually do well. Cuss, Stormy Weather, so forth, so on.
But you also like been producing like a lot of dancehall songs as well. Like you have like the Bone Tequila, Suicide.
No, Suicide Murder was massive. He was the first young artist at that time, the voice for me. Like really a big artist. Yeah. Some of the other artists I met, the breed of money they wanted from me was crazy. And Killer, I had a link with Killer. Big up Johnny Wonder, and I had a rhythm called the Black Riot rhythm. And he voiced Suicide Murder for me, and I just knew that just took off. Yeah, man, I remember playing like that back in the 90s, man, like heavy. 95 probably. 95, right? 94, yeah, 95? I remember like I playing it like around 97 heavy, you know. Really? Yeah, okay. Like around that time, like era, like. Before like I think that's the time like I really started. That's the first time I probably met you too. Around 97. Maybe that late? Like yeah, like 97 or 98ish. Like when you probably don't remember like first time I went to Hot 97 on your show. Okay. But I met your brother before you then. I think Simon, in Brooklyn. I meet him. You probably don't remember the first time I went on Hot 97, right? And it was General who brought me. General, yeah, at that time, right? And then I went up there, and I still remember like I was so nervous. It was my first time on a big platform, Hot 97. I'm like, yo, Mighty Crown being on Hot 97, this is the shit. And then I was so nervous, right? And then you were asking me questions, and I wasn't like, yeah, and I couldn't even answer your fucking question. That's how nervous I was. And then after the interview, right, it was so whack, like the way how I responded, like I didn't know shit. That's why I forget probably. Yeah, and then I was like, fuck, I really fucked up. And then I remember like you telling General, like, yo, son, like, he ain't ready, son. He ain't ready at all, son. Like, get the fuck out of here. And then I was like, oh, shit. Yo, man, I was like, yo, I really fucked up. I just got nervous and, you know, I just blew up my whole fucking chat. And then what happened was like, 99. Yo, that sounds like something I would say too. Yo, he ain't ready, son. I mean, you did. I fucking remember that shit, like crystal clear. And then 2 years later, right? 2 years later, I'm back on your program again on Hot 97. And this time, I'm like, I made a mistake already, so I never did not want to make a mistake. I still even have the fucking cassette? Yeah, man. Of me, like, you know, talking Patuano and then able to answer like
Yeah, and I'm me a bud up you on job. I'm like, yo, hold on, man. Let me play my song, man. Like, me a bud up for 2 hours, no. And
That's
then
good.
you guys are like, oh shit, this kid ready now, son.
Yeah,
man. And then you probably don't remember. I remember that crystal clear. I'm like, shit, like, yo, I got my second chance now on Hot 97. I cannot blow this one. And it was like right before 99 World Clash, the one that I won. And
yeah, I remember. I was at that. I went at the warehouse.
Yeah, that was just like maybe like a couple weeks before.
Okay.
Yeah, and then like, you know, I went there for the promotion for World Clash. And people was like, Japanese kid, what the fuck? He could talk.
Now, y'all fucked it up. But yo, were you there when we came to Japan for Ricky? Me and Jabba? This had to be like 94, 95.
I might.
We played at a big dance in Tokyo. We toured Japan.
I might have been there, but I never really linked you guys.
Okay.
Because I wasn't ready. Like when I went on to Hot 97.
That was great. Japan tours were great. Or they still are great. It's just different now, but they're still fun, you know. The love is love.
I mean, you got like so much like brethrens, like your fam in Japan.
Nah, Japan is love, son. I got like Turner, all the cats in Okinawa.
Yeah.
Cal, Osaka, Nesta. That's my boys, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my G's. You know what I'm saying?
See.
Like, me and Nesta turned the fuck up, son.
No doubt, man. My next question, right, is, you've been in New York from like 80s, late 80s, 90s, 2000, all up till now, and you're in the streets. And what's the major difference that you see, like from back in the days and now?
They say from a reggae dancehall perspective, what we were talking about earlier, from the 90s to the early 2000s to 2020, well, today's generation, young party generation, is not as concerned about a dub plate. They're not. The sound systems are not good like how they were back in the day, and it's more of it's more about fashion. They're fashion oriented. The dancehall crowd, you know, the class scene has gotten very small.
Very small.
Oh, they look like, look at me, you know, with their phone on Instagram, and it's just a whole different way they party. But that's how they party. So I can't say it's right or wrong. If that's how a 22-year-old parties, that's how he parties or she parties. Now, musically, obviously, we were talking earlier, dancehall, the dancehall sound, the reggae sound as we know it and as we embraced it has changed too over the last 7 to 10 years or whatever. And that would be more or less the production. They don't really make rhythms no more. They make beats. And all I'm saying is, in Jamaica, it's popular. In the Jamaican communities, it's popular. And if I DJ in them arenas, I play it. But the dancehall trap sound, which was what they call it now, has not really connected globally with people around the world. So therefore, when I tour, I notice the crowds are smaller because the popularity of dancehall has gotten smaller. And even, like I spoke to Shaggy the other day, they'll even tell you the streaming numbers are down. So, down because I don't even know if like it ever was big, other than, you know, whatever they do to keep Bob Marley's Legend album #1. I don't fucking know. But you know, that's just, there's analytically ways for people to trick the system, trick the views, trick the streams or whatever. But back to the essence of what we know as dancehall, growing up from parties and, you know, seeing the big sound string up to rhythm, Steel and Clevey type rhythms or whatever the fuck. They're not making rhythms no more, they're making beats. And they changed the sound of it. And like I said, music is a youth-driven business. So therefore, younger generation is going to do what they feel and what they think is popping. You know, I just think quantity of music does not necessarily mean quality. It's so easy to make music now with a computer. plugging a mic or whatever. Back in the day, we had stages to this shit. The sound has changed, and therefore, I don't think the global appeal is what it is. You know, and you even got some of your top artists out of Jamaica even saying they don't do reggae. So if some of your top younger artists are saying they don't do reggae, they just do music, you know, you're killing you're not helping the fucking movement.
So like as you said, like, you know, some of these songs that's like big in Jamaica, right? It doesn't get played in streets in New York?
I think the big dancehall songs get played in the streets within the dancehall community, the Jamaican community, but the hip hop community has not embraced that sound as much as back in the 90s, early 2000s, where you would hear hip hop DJs do in their parties 15, 20-minute reggae dancehall sets. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, I would just say commercially, the songs that have probably transferred to the hip hop community over the last couple of years would be Cartel Fever, Conscious, Broke Off Your Back, Mr. Vegas, I'm So Blessed, Red Bull and Guinness, I'm Drinking Red Bull and Guinness, and more recently, a couple Afrobeats records, and then the fucking Hood Celebrity Run Road, Vibes Cartel I put out About Us the other day. They're the ones that the hip hop DJs were playing.
Okay.
You know? But the ones that you know is the hardcore biggest songs, they're not, hasn't transferred over.
I see. Well, I guess it's a global, you know, it's a global effect, I should call it. What's for you for 2021?
Well, the continuation of releasing records. Like in December, I released an Anthony B, Back to Normal, which is a very catchy song. This past year, we just released the Cartel About Us early in the year, Diamond Treasure and Cheddar and Cyclone, younger artists. I released the drill, hip hop, Pop Smoke sounding stuff with Junior Reed Bagler and Cartel Badman, Vibes Cartel. Did the reggae one drop remixes that are just released. And then I'm 2021 coming. I just gonna keep putting more music out. Hopefully, I got a next Cartel to line up. I'm going to drop a ton. Cheddar Boss has a song with Ja Vinci coming, real nice song. I'm just gonna put music out, some reggae, some dancehall, some fusion, dancehall trap things or whatever, and just keep grinding. But one thing I would like to mention, you know, Master B is more of a juggler, but you know, I do a couple dub plates here and there. Before this Clash thing started, Walshy Fire hit me up, and you know, I put Clash against Jazzy T Renaissance at the beginning of the Corona, COVID, whatever they call it. You know what I'm saying? And I exercised some of the dubs, and you know what I'm saying? It was doing a Clash. Quarantine Clash, they called it. That's right. You know what I'm saying? And I did come out with it. So maybe in 21, you know what I'm saying? I'll do a couple clashes. I don't know. The door open right now. You know, I don't know. I might have to get my David Roddy and Mighty Crown on. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Because like I represented New York. I represented New York really well. And let me tell you something. In that little 1 hour, I got to play a couple dubs. The dub box is fully fucking loaded. Don't get it fucked up.
Yo, you got a lot of dubs. Well, since you're ready to take off ready to kill some sound in 2021. Well, people, we got.
I'm trying to think. Get me in the gram, man. They can get at me in the gram. Bobby Konders with a K, Konders. Yo, remember we were J Rex this year, a Japanese artist as well on the Massive B label.
Yeah, man, keep on doing that great work, man. One last message to your Japanese fans, man, to the world, because not only the Japanese, them I watch this, in the whole world I watch this.
I know your thing is global, son. Stop it, man. Your shit Ghana, fucking Kingston, Jamaica, Russia, Poland, fucking Philadelphia. Come on, yo. Some of them artists need to link back fucking Mighty Crown when they call, man. Play your fucking position, son. Fucking, you can't go to fucking Japan and get slapped the fuck up. No. Yo, I come with love. I promote love. So people around the world, walk with love in your heart. Big up all of my Japan fans and my friends, you know what I mean? My fan and people anywhere around the world.
Yeah, man, respect, man. はい、ということで今日は僕のインタビューでした。ありがとうございます。